XL.
Johnny's house.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 6:01 Friday morning, and this is Johnny's house.
Who am I? I'm Johnny Magic, host of Johnny's House on XL 106.7. I got my start in radio when I was in college, and my college roommate worked at the campus station, and he asked me to help him do a commercial, and he asked me to do the voice of Mr. T, and I went in and I did the voice, and it was a car commercial like, I pity the fool that paid too much for that car. Oh, the first night I was on the air, I was petrified. It was 30 degrees outside, and I was sweating, and I just couldn't wait to get out of that studio and back into my normal life because I didn't know what I was doing. And the next morning, I was walking to class, and there was girls on campus saying, "We heard you last night on the radio." I was like, okay. "Hey, I like that music you was playing last night." Okay, but what they didn't say is that I sucked. And as they say, the rest is history. I was bitten by the radio bug. I've been here about 23 years, packed up my bags, left Charlotte, and I moved to town New Year's Eve, 1989. Never looked back. In the beginning, there were some rough moments where I called home and I was kind of emotional, and my father's like, you gotta man up. My dad is the most amazing man. He's just a hardworking, genuine, good-hearted, good-spirited man. And I've always said if I could be a quarter of a man that my father is, that I'd be a heck of a man. I mean, I just thank God that he put this man into my life, man. He's definitely my hero. My first partner or co-host was Doc Holliday. And we were together for 17 years. And then we brought in Jade. She went to Hollywood she wanted to try her way into television. And Jade and I were partners for about 4 years. And then we upped Brian's role and brought in Laura Diaz. So it's Johnny's House with Brian and Laura.
I'm Brian Grimes. I just go by Brian, or B, Johnny calls me sometimes. And I kind of do a little bit of everything on Johnny's House. I'm the executive producer, so I'm in charge of all the technical stuff, but I'm the co-host, and I've been around XL longest, second to Johnny.
He started out as an unpaid intern.
Everything was 100% taken care of, like make sure where he needed to be every second, down to if he needed a drink.
I thought I had extremely large work ethics, but his is just as strong as mine. He asked me for an opportunity, and I said, okay, get here at 4 o'clock Monday morning.
Bring me your resume, come hang out.
And 4 o'clock Monday morning.
Showed up at 3 o'clock before him, an hour before him.
That man was there.
With a resume. Here you go, dude. And he's like,
okay.
I didn't expect you to actually show up the next day.
Come back next week. And he came back next week.
Worked for free for about a year.
And he came every day. He would work on the air in the morning and then go to his other job.
They finally opened a part-time spot to answer phones. I did that for about a year and a half.
And then he worked as a board operator.
Then a full-time spot opened, and I did that.
And then he got on the air more, and I felt that he put his dues in.
Kind of just moved up until now.
And now he's, a co-host of the show.
If Johnny leaves, I'm it.
He's my right-hand man.
I'm next in line. I'm vice president.
It would be totally different dynamics if he wasn't there.
Johnny's work ethic is a lot like mine. I think that's why we do get along so well. We both have the mindset that no matter what happens with anybody else,
we're there on the grind every single day.
Our stuff's gonna be tight, me and him. And if we figure if we keep it our work tight, then everything else will take care of itself.
Here's a guy that's not trying to ride on what's already been established. He's still working hard to build a name for not only himself but also for the show.
And I think that's why it keeps him comfortable being in the position he's in, and it definitely keeps me comfortable in the position I'm in, is I know I got him, he knows he's got me. And
I depend on him for a lot because I'm thinking about what I'm going to say on the air. He'll open the mic and say, listen, you got about 30 seconds, start out with this, and then hit the topic. So in my mind, I know where I need to go instead of, that's less thing I have to worry or think about, So I depend a lot on his position as not only a co-host, but also as a producer of the show. Laura just hit me on Twitter and said, hey, I heard that you're looking for another co-host. I'd like to try.
I'm Laura Diaz, and I'm co-host of Johnny's House. So it's Johnny's House with Laura Diaz and Brian Grimes.
And I hit her back and I said, look, my experience with TV people is that you're stiff, you're not funny, and you don't know how to relax.
I was a news anchor, you know, talking about politics and unemployment and, you know, sinkholes, you know, serious stuff.
And she goes, well, my friends think that I'm funny and I'm different. And I said, okay, so we met, and the meeting went well, and I told my program director about it, and then I brought Brian to the meeting, and we both talked to her, and we got a nice chemistry.
She was new. She's never done radio before.
It's unheard of to go from television to radio.
It was good for her to have us two to kind of lean on. And now, as we move on, she's getting in, so it's like a 3 versus a 2 and a 1 on the outside.
And then they brought the VP in, and they said, well, is that what you want? And I said, I think she's going to do great.
It's the best decision I've ever made in my life to go from doom, gloom, murders on the news to fun, you know, we're talking about a full moon today, you know, like it's just fun.
I think the dynamic overall now is better than it's ever been.
She's just really, for someone who's never done radio before, she's done an amazing job. I mean, our show is on fire right now.
Working with Johnny is definitely an experience. He's crazy. He's got like really high energy, you know. And
Laura's having fun. She speaks her mind now, where before, here's your script, you read it. Don't show any emotions, just deliver.
And working with Johnny is probably the best part about the change, because I don't think this would be such an amazing experience as it has been if Johnny Magic wasn't my partner, you know?
He's like an M&M. He's got a hard candy shell, but inside really soft.
He is like the biggest softie inside. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, he would do anything for anyone that needed it.
He's like nobody you've ever met, but somebody that you always want to be with.
One of the nicest people. I mean, just selfless people that I've met.
And I think that's where all these charities come from.
I wasn't surprised when he wanted to do the 100.
One morning to the next, he just came in, I'm going to do 100 charities by the end of the year.
I was driving to have breakfast with a friend, and it dawned on me, it's like God spoke to me, it's like, if you can use your name and your position to help other organizations and these charities, you should do 100 by the end of the year. I told the radio station, they're like, you're doing what?
I'm going to do 100 charities by the end of the year.
You're giving away 100 free appearances? Absolutely.
Part of this job, when I first got this job, Johnny told me, you know, I'm really big into giving back to your community. So if that's not something that you value, this isn't going to work.
Radio hosts get to a certain level of success, they become full of themselves. Like, oh, I'm not doing that.
Every time he does a charity, he'll make a quick mention. Hey, tonight I'm going to
Avalon Park, Relay for Life. I'll be there today at 6 o'clock. Timber Creek High School over in Avalon Park, kicking off their Relay for Life program. And also
he must feel some sort of need to say thank you to the world.
You know, the motivation behind my 100 charities is that I realize that me going to these individual charities make a difference, that they make more money or they get recognition to their charities.
He puts everybody ahead of himself.
When you think Johnny Magic, it's synonymous with community goodwill. So I think that for him to say he wasn't doing enough charities is absolutely appropriate.
And if I'm in a position that I can do that, why not? Today's date is Memorial Day. It is, Saturday, it's May 26th. and I'm at the halfway point where at the rate that I'm going, I'll have 100 by September. I did 5 in a 24-hour window. On Friday at 5 o'clock, I did a Relay for Life at Lake Eola. Then the next morning at 8 a.m., it was an AIDS walk in downtown Orlando, which was also at Lake Eola.
Are you guys ready to walk? I know not in a microphone. All right, here's my big one responsibility for today. I'll make sure I don't mess this up. You guys ready?
At noon the same day, there was a pet charity.
The Better Life Pet Rescue is basically a nonprofit charity that we have here in Winter Garden. It's based all on volunteers and started this pet rescue because we saw so many animals on the side of the road that most of us are not from Florida. And I have never seen animals on the side of the road like I've seen in Florida. And so because of that, we decided that we were going to start our own pet rescue. Today, our fundraiser is for Father John, who's from Holy Cross.
Father John was really sick and he adopted these dogs.
He just passed away about a month ago.
And he was in the hospital and he passed. And he thought that someone was taking care of his dogs.
Nobody took care of his animals. He had 8 dogs.
And the dogs were in the house for
about almost 4 to 6 weeks when we got them.
So when someone went to check, they were in horrible shape and they needed vet care and adoption. So
of course, each animal probably has about a bill, about $600 for vet bills. So we're up to about $3,000 to $4,000 right now.
I volunteered to do a dog wash for that one.
I reached out to Johnny because I knew he was doing his 100 charities in a year. And then he read about it and said, absolutely, I'll come out for a little bit. And we were just so happy.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it is my pleasure. I was glad to do it. And then at 2 o'clock at Turkey Lake Park, it was a Relay for Life.
Relay for Life is an 18-hour event memorizing all the people who have lost to cancer or are currently surviving cancer. So we're here in their honor.
You know, helping cancer survivors.
I think the volunteers are the ones that put the most heart and soul into this event. They dedicate their time as well as, you know, caregivers do as well, but we do it because we all have, I think, big hearts and we all want to be able to make, you know, cancer research more fundable, that we can be able to try to come up with a cure.
I think it's amazing for someone who has such a huge following to take time out of their day to spend with survivors and volunteers. It's just an amazing thing to see for someone who is at his level. So really appreciate it. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you, Johnny.
And then at 7 o'clock that night was Runway to Hope. Runway to Hope is an amazing cause. It's founded by Mark and Josie Nejame.
I'm Mark Nejame. This is it says fill in the blank with adjective. This is my beautiful, amazing, compassionate, caring, sleep-deprived wife, Josie.
And they give so much money to pediatric cancer, to two of the big hospitals here. I'm talking $1 million checks.
Truly, we have a sold-out room tonight. They had to add tables on for us, and we are somewhere around 1,250 people.
And they're very passionate about it. They take the kids out and take them shopping. They're there. They're just not, okay, we start an organization and they step away from it.
We ended our week with a splash at SeaWorld, of course. The children got to interact with all of the animals. They were treated beautifully, and it was a day to remember, not only just with their parents, but their families. They got to spend time with everybody, and we just thank you from the bottom of our hearts for creating such a special day for them.
To see those kids backstage that night, to see the happiness in their eyes. I mean, these are children battling cancer, and for that night, they are the center of attention. They're on the runway, you know, all eyes on them, and they went to SeaWorld, and SeaWorld treated them like VIP, and they're shopping in high-end stores in the mall. To see those kids light up and to know what they've gone through. They're children. They don't know they're not supposed to be sick. They just know that as a child, this is something that I dealt with. So Runway to Hope, anytime that they ask me, I am totally there. And it's a fun event for me because the young lady that I walk with, she gets such a kick out of it. And here's a young lady who's battled and fought cancer. And I had a surprise for her this year. I had a friend of mine hide out in the stands with a dozen roses, and at the end of them, I gave it to her, and the look on her face, that's that feeling that unless you give up your time and yourself, you don't know. And it's a feeling that touches your soul.
Baby DJ is a monster. It's a monster charity. He'll know the numbers of what they started with and what they are now with 14 years it's been going on.
I know we do Baby DJ. We've done that since I got here. And that's always number one focus, like everything else secondary.
Baby DJ is one that's close to my heart. It's one that we started when we first started, myself and Doc, on Doc and Johnny in the Morning.
He treats Baby DJ like his own child.
You know, when I was a kid, we didn't have anything. So we would have been one of the families lining up to get stuff had there been someone doing that when I was a kid. I mean, we just didn't have anything.
So he doesn't have children. I'm assuming that's where he fills that void.
The reason it's close to my heart is because I see where it goes. I'm in that warehouse every day that it's open.
We collect letters, and then Johnny has so many letters sent in that we all in the show divvy it up and read letters.
I see the families. I see a dad who breaks down in my arms because he had to go to an organization to get help for his kids.
People will need help for toys for their children. Then people will need help to get toys for the children for Christmas, and maybe they need food.
We just felt as though that it was important for a child to wake up Christmas morning or whatever they're celebrating with a gift or something under the tree.
Then people will need toys for their children, food, shoes, their mortgage payment is late, their lights have just been turned off, and somebody in the family just died.
So we started out with that.
And I can see my mom and a lot of these parents that come in.
That is his family. That is his child. He spends all of his time, all of his energy, all of his money, everything you can imagine going into that charity because for whatever reason that's close to him, near and dear to his heart, it's the most important thing in his life.
Think about it. If you ask for help, you would ask your family, your friends, your coworkers, your church.
I met a woman who needed help and I fostered her on my own, which is what Johnny encourages, anyone to do.
A radio station is the last place you're gonna go.
Is grab a family on your own so they don't even have to come get the free toys from Baby DJ.
When you come to us for help, that means that every other option you had is gone.
First, it was just, okay, we're giving lots of toys to lots of people.
Today, as a matter of fact, I wrote a check for $500 to a family who lost everything, and the kids needed clothes and school supplies to finish out the school.
So from that standpoint, it's really cool to be able to help, all these families that need it.
I fostered this woman, and she touched my heart. I was crying, she was crying. We met, we hugged, we laughed, we cried. It was just the most life-altering moment.
So now we're doing more than just toys. We are doing, whatever needs to be done in the community.
Being a part of it is amazing. At first, I was a little hesitant because it's during a time when it's Christmas time.
From the beginning of, day after Thanksgiving till Christmas Day, that's us.
And we're all doing our own things. We've got our families.
Now here we are, 22, 23 years later. I'm the CEO president of it. I have a board of directors. And the first year where we helped maybe 35 kids, this year we helped close to 6,700.
Again, 6,000 kids this year, whatever.
Once he basically shoved us all into it, now this was my first year, but once he just threw me into it, I was so touched.
What we put together kind of by ourselves, we don't have a staff. We don't use any of the money to pay people.
Honestly, sometimes charities are a very selfish thing. Because I feel so good doing them. Because every time I help Johnny with a charity, I moan the entire time going there, get there, and then feel so great about myself, because it warms your heart to do half of these things.
If you see something that affects your life and your family, go to those organizations, tell them you want to volunteer, and they'll put you to work.
It really reminded me, just how precious life is, and that's what Johnny does.
I think everything came together. I told you there's a synergy that is going on right now with the charity events, with you guys wanting to do this. I think, collectively, someone watching this now is supposed to see it. Something's supposed to happen. It's going to touch someone to write a check, to help, or something's going to change somewhere. We may not ever see it, but the dynamics of how life works is that that's what's going to happen.
Johnny does all these charities, and it's great, and it's so nice to do charities and stuff. But as a person, he's just a genuinely good person. I really truly believe he has, sort of been sent here, as corny as that may sound, to do good, because so many people just don't have that kind of motivation.
And I think once you learn to volunteer, you'll get that feeling that you're like, you know what? this is what I've been missing.
If just one person goes out to meet Johnny at one of these charities because he has the star power, and then they see what a good cause it's for, and then they might, take on a whole new role of helping back. So it's like this fascinating pay it forward, giving back karmic beautifulness. I love it,
We can make a difference. If me doing these charities can help one organization get their name out there more than before, raise $1 extra, the reason I did is to let people know that you can do it too. I'm just a guy with a radio show, no different than anybody watching right now. And if I would looked upon myself to say, this is what I want to do, I'm not saying everybody can put in the time to do 100. People have families, they have jobs that they're committed to, and so do I. But if you can do one, I challenge everyone, listen now, find one charity, volunteer at one event, and I think we can all make a difference.
Check. If you're in a position where you can make a change, and you don't, if the pressure gets high and spirits get low, baby, tune in to my radio show. Get your mind right here, get your mind right. Responsibility come with the limelight. Find a charity, so when the time right, you can pass a baton on a relay for life. Got a race for the cure, set a race into the store for more liquor. Gotta give back, plant seeds for the youth. Put her in a cap and gown instead of Daisy Dukes. Let's make peace, not make nukes. How could I forget? Shout out to the troops. Let's run away for hope, find truth in it instead of coops and whips with no roofs in it. I ain't got nothing against materialistic. I'm just saying give back if you kinda missed it. I'm not speaking English, my concept hieroglyphic. In pursuit of happiness and all the specifics. If the pressure gets high and your spirits get low, baby, tune in to the radio show. If the pressure gets high and your spirits get low, baby,